For more updates, click on subscribe and click on bell button for latest notifications. Hi friends, welcome to Tech ARK IT YouTube channel. My name is Ravi. In this video session, we are going to see that the additional networking components which we can use it to network, do the networking stuff, right? You can publishing the services and all. So how you can do that, right? So what are the services which help you to do more networking stuff? This is example say that DNS. So DNS is a domain naming system, which is a phone book. Example, you have a contact list in your mobile phone, right? So example, all the numbers you cannot just remember if you save the number only, right, without attaching the name to it, right? You cannot just remember the numbers of your families, friends and everybody, right? So that's why the phone book of the your mobile, just like mapping the name to that particular number. Example say that so and so number is so and so's person, right? So and so number is my mother's number, so and so is my father's number, something like that, right? So you cannot search by the number, you can search by the name. So here also is a DNS is something like in a phone book of the internet. Humans access information online through domain names. So domain names like you type ark.co.in, so the servercomputer.com, right? So that is a name. So backend there is an IP address hosted for that particular server, but you don't need to remember that particular IP address here. You just need remember that name. So arkit.co.in, which is a domain name. Whenever you go and type on the address bar, which will automatically redirect your request to your name to the IP address resolution, which is taken care by the DNS. So and your web page is loaded. So web browsers interact through internet protocol, so IP addresses, and DNS translate the domain names to IP address, so browsers can load the internet resources. So that's how happens what happens when you enter any domain name on the browser address, right? So it loads, it translate your domain name to the IP address, then the resources will be loaded on your internet browser. So each device is connected to the internet has a unique IP address which other machines use to find the device. Address any device which connects to the internet, right, which has the unique IP address. Okay, so DNS servers eliminate the need for humans to memorize the IP addresses, such as example 192.168.1.1, which is an IPv4 version of IP address, right? So maybe you can remember to the certain IP numbers, but the more complex one, the newer alphanumeric IP address, which is an IPv6 one, right? You can see that 2400 CB002048 1C629D7A2. So which is an IPv6 address. Maybe you cannot remember at all, right? So if you remember 3 or 4 of these numbers, then you cannot remember anything. So that's why you don't need to remember this IP addresses which are back to it. So you just remember the name, so the DNS will automatically take care your translating your domain name to the IP address. So that's exactly what DNS does here. Okay, so what is the DNS service here on AWS, which can help you to translate your domain name to the IP address? So this is an Amazon Route 53 is a highly available and scalable domain name system, our domain name service, web service, which is a connects user request to internet applications running on a AWS or on premises. So this can be helpful you to translate your domain name and IP address. So domain name registration you can also do using this Route 53, performs health checks on AWS resources. Okay, so it actually reaches the resources which are having the Route 53 entries, right? So that understand that is there any resources down, or before the users reach to that, then it reports that hey, there is a resources down, you cannot able to access, something like that. So that is a performs the periodical health checks that will be more helpful for the resources to check the status. And supports hybrid cloud architectures. So set routing policies to for predetermine and automate responses in case of failure, like redirecting the traffic to an alternative availability zones or regions. So right, so example say that if any availability zone is failed, right, you wanted to reach the similar like resources to the other availability zones. If you have any redundancy purpose or multi availability multi regional or multi availability zone deployments, right, it can be more helpful you to redirect your resources connections to the multiple availability zones. So there is a AWS Direct Connect. Basically this is Direct Connect is dedicated physical network connection from your on-premises data center to the AWS 10G connection. So basically this is a example, you have a high load of data you would like to load or download, upload the transactions are low latency applications. Example, you have databases hosted on AWS, right, but you wanted to access the servers, those databases connections to your on premises. In that case you can use this AWS Direct Connect. So that's the main purpose of AWS Direct Connect. So this is direct link from your AWS data center to your data center. So that is a dedicated 10G connection. So dedicated physical network connection connects your on-premises data center to AWS with low latency link. So that is called as a low latency. You can transfer the data through high throughput, and which is on a private network through. Okay, so there is no public connections goes over here. It's just very dedicated to your data center to data center connection. So that's why it's not shared anywhere. So hybrid environment, easy to extend your data center services. So example, say that you have on-premises data center but you wanted to host some public facing applications or public facing web servers on cloud, right? So you can do that using the this model can be supported here. So let's see how hybrid cloud model connected using the AWS Direct Connect here. So you have a private cloud which is called as your on-premises data center, and the Direct Connect, AWS Direct Connect has the direct link to your AWS cloud, which is in a 10G line to AWS cloud, and you have the VPC and availability zone, and you might have the resources inside the VPC, right? Then that easy to instance you can directly access using this AWS Direct Connect. Like you can transfer the data from there to here, or any service you can host on this easy to instance, and you can access from the AWS Direct Connect. So that's the hybrid cloud model, how you can how they connected using the AWS cloud model. So this is a direct connect option. Transfer large data set to AWS. Example, say that you have a large manufacturing industries, like they generate a lot of data, right? Then you wanted to transfer. So on premises you cannot have that much of storage capacity, like petabytes of data if you're trying to generate. Then you just have a direct line between your AWS and your data on-premises data center. Then you can just transfer the data to the S3 buckets. So that's the large amount of data you can send to S3 buckets, and you put some S3 policies over there, so that will be archived. So that way this is more helpful to your extending your hybrid cloud model. Extend your data center resources. So maybe you can spin off resources on the AWS, then you can use that the another option. Transfer internal data directly to AWS does not require internet connection. So here there's no internet connection is required because this is a direct connectivity between your data center and AWS. So there is an AWS VPN, which is a site-to-site connectivity. You can use this one. Site-to-site VPN creates a secure connection between your internal networks and your AWS VPCs, right? So this is also similar to the direct connect, but this is not using any dedicated line or dedicated physical line. So whatever the internet line you have, top of that you can run a secure VPN tunnel from your data center to the cloud. So that way whatever the data you're sent from your on-premises to the cloud, which is sent through the secure connection, that the encrypted, the in transit the data is encrypted and it is directly connected to your VPC line. So this is a site to site VPN connection. So VPN is similar to direct connect, however the data travels over the public internet. Data is automatically encrypted, connects your on-premises data center to AWS. So you can also extend like hybrid cloud, also a similar model you can work, but how much internet bandwidth you have, that much data you can send. It is not a low latency link here. Hybrid environment, so easy to extend your data center services based on your requirement. So how your VPN architecture looks like here. So you can see that you have an on-premises data center, and you have a gateway which might be your router, right? And you run a VPN tunnel between your AWS VPC and your data center using the VPG, so which is a virtual private gateway and router connectivity from your AWS to VPC. So that's how you can do that. Okay, so now this is your architecture. You can see that. So on-premises data center and site-to-site VPN, if you enable it, so it would be extended your hybrid cloud environment to the cloud from your on-premises data center. API gateway. So what is this API gateway here? So API gateway is a fully managed service provided by Amazon Web Services that allows developers to create, publish and manage APIs, so which is an application programming interfaces for their web application. So if you want to develop any APIs for your developers or create, publish, managing your APIs, you can do that. So this gateway, API gateway, is fully managed, which means that the service installation and configuration and management be done by the AWS itself. You don't need to worry about what is the resources they are maintaining and all. So you just go and use it that way, so you can make sure that you focus on your development environment, not on the API gateway services. You don't need to bother about that. So API gateway developers can easily create RESTful APIs, WebSocket APIs and HTTP APIs that connects to Lambda functions. So you can integrate this Lambda functions, right, with the API gateway, so that would be more helpful for the developers to trigger any actions or there. So EC2 instances and other AWS services, you can also integrate or connect through the EC2 instances or the other AWS services with the API gateway. So you can share data between systems. So that way API gateway would be more useful for your networking stuff. That's all about this video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel for more upcoming videos and courses, and do share with your friends and family so they also learn along with you.